Page 8, Firefly. This is a review piece, so we can review what we've learned. Goody. On the previous couple pages, I'm not familiar with the Faber approach. I'm just covering a whole lot of method books based on my knowledge of the piano. When I was little, I learned through the John Thompson method. There's no special thing about it. It's just a method. I'm not pushing one method over another. I'm just giving lessons in the books. I'm trying not to judge them. I'm just giving lessons in the books. But if you take a look on page 6 and 7, they're telling you about smart notes. I really don't know what a smart note is. I've never heard of that before, but okay, so maybe I'll have to do some research to find out what a smart note is. They're, on page 6, they're telling you about the lines in the treble clef. And they're approaching it with first and last name. That, if you want to try it that way, I mean, we use crutches to help us memorize things. If you want to do that, you do fine. I used a sentence, a lot of people do, and you simply use a word that starts with each letter and you make a sentence. For instance, in the lines, I used "every good boy does fine." Every good boy does fine, and it reminds me what the names of the lines are. Eventually, you just got to know them instantly because you don't have time to figure them out. But right now, when you're learning them, that might help you. They don't talk about the spaces. Maybe they do later in the book, I don't know. But on the treble clef, the spaces spell out the word face, F-A-C-E, going from the bottom space up, and that might help you. And then the treble clef, it's up to you. Find something if you need it to help you memorize what the notes are. You need to know all of the notes in the every line and space in the staff, in both staves, as soon as you can get there. Apparently, that's what they're, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. If you have questions, welcome to ask me. You can ask me in the description. If you don't have a YouTube account, you can tweet me. My Twitter's down there. The email associated to this channel is down there. You can email me a question. It's up to you how you do it. But let's talk about page 8, this piece, Firefly. It's actually on both pages, 8 and 9, it goes across. Just quickly review. We have 2 staves again, 2 groups of lines, 5 lines each. They're connected with these vertical lines or bar lines or measure lines. Means we're going to do both staves at the same time when they're connected like that. They have a treble clef in the top and a bass clef in the bottom. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is for now. And they have that curly brace in front of them signifying a grand staff. That's what piano uses. 4/4 time, so we're going to count to 4. Each measure's got 4 counts. And we're counting quarter notes. 4/4 time. So if you look at the first measure there, it starts in the right hand. And they want a little finger on the G. That is a G. Remember the G clef? It tells you where, okay. If I do that, the other fingers are going here. Unfortunately, they don't give you any more finger numbers, and I like that. Don't, because you need to read the note names. So we're here. And we have quarter notes. You got a quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4, because that is a half note. You got to hold it down for 2 counts. And then you go on. 1, 2, 3, hold that down for 2 counts, etc. And the whole piece, you just go through the whole piece like that. Do the right hand and just count them out. If there's nothing there, you just wait. You be quiet. You rest for that time, whatever. Same thing in the left hand. The left hand doesn't come in until the end of the first line, and you see a thumb on a G. I'll tell you it's a G. That means your hand goes here. That's the same position we were in before. We're here. Playing that, and then in the second line, let's kind of go through both hands because they're taking turns here. So in the second line, you have a C, a G, a D, a G, an E, an F. You're just alternating. And again, I would encourage you to forget the rhythm for a bit and just go through and say the note names. Play it and say it. So that C, second line, C, G, D, G, E, G, F, G. Do that through the whole thing. Reinforce these note names. Then you can go back and count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that circle, that note there, the last measure of the second line on page 8, that is a whole note. It is the same as 4 quarter notes. There's 4 quarters in a whole type thing. So you hold it down for 4 counts. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go on, and that's how that works. There's another one at the end of the next page. Now at the bottom of page 9, they talk about transposing. Transposing simply means you're taking music written in one place in the keyboard and you're just moving it to another place. For instance, you're here. Well, I could just as easily go up here and put G on the bottom and here, and I could play this whole piece using the same fingers that I used there, and I could play this whole piece. See? Up here. Doesn't work everywhere. I mean, if I went here and tried to do it, it would sound funny. It really. Do it. That's the point, is that's transposing. You're moving it to another location. That can get very involved. I don't really teach transposing. I won't do much with it, but that's what they're talking about there. Look between the stabs and you see it's got words again. Once you learn the notes, you can play it right. If you want to sing it, go right ahead. Now keep in mind, when you sing these things, you don't have to actually sing the actual pitch, the note. You just you have a range where you can sing, and you sing within that range regardless of where it is on the piano. So if you can't sing this low, then you sing up here where you can sing. That's close enough. I'm not going to sing, forget that nonsense. Ugh. But also in between the stabs there is an MF. MF means medium loud. F means loud, it's forte, it's loud. MF is mezzo forte, moderately loud, medium loud, loud, however you want to say it. I don't care. So it's not as loud as loud. And it's a range. You decide what medium loud is. Good grief, I don't know what medium loud is. I know what it is to me, but that's not what it means to you. So you'll have to figure it out. There's a lot of figuring out going on here. They have little things in here, like at the beginning on the bottom stab it says prepare LH, left hand, prepare left hand. That's not part of the music. I'm telling you for now, you put both hands on the keyboard for the whole piece and you leave them there. And that's preparing it. Just leave them there, right there. Whether you're using it or not, you're going to need it, so put it there and leave it there for the whole piece until it's over, and then you take both hands off. It's what I strongly recommend you get in the habit of doing. We'll change that later, and I'll explain later what it's about. For right now, that's it. And that covers all the symbols except for 2. We got 2 more symbols to cover. Good Lord. You may have to review these things for a while. On page 8, look at the second line. The second grand staff line. Above it, at the beginning of it, there's a 5 with a box around it. Well, this is how this publisher designates or identifies measure numbers. The measures are numbered, can be numbered. That way, when you're playing with somebody else and you want to start in the middle of a piece, you can say, well, okay, let's start at measure 9, or let's start at measure 7. Put it that way. And that way you both can figure out where measure 7 is by, you look at the numbers. So you look at the 5, that's measure 5, and you count across. 6, 7. So measure 7 would be the third measure of the second line. This one, that would be measure 7. And that's what those numbers. Different publishers use different styles. Some put circles around them, some put squares around them, some don't put them in at all. Some put them in for every measure. And a lot of them just put them in at the beginning of the line, and you have to count across. what you want. I don't know which direction you're counting, whatever. Then the other symbol they're introducing here is the end of the piece symbol. When a piece is over, there is a symbol used to tell you it's done. And that is, if you look at the end on page 9, second line at the end of the line, you see a thin and thick bar line. That's the symbol for it's done. Repeat sign is the same thing, but it's got 2 dots in it. That's not when it's done. Forget that. There's no dots here, so that's the end of the line. So we don't repeat this piece. We're just going to play it one time. So what I would like to do, I need you first to go learn the piece on your own. Just learn this. All those fancy notes at the bottom, that's a teacher duet part. Forget that for now. You just learn your part. And when you have it learned, now you come back and we're going to do this play with me so you can check your notes. Make sure you're playing the right notes. You should be playing the same note I'm playing. And hopefully you can hear that if you're not. If you're playing this note and I'm playing this note, can you tell those aren't the same? No, there's 2 different notes. They should be the same note. And it has to be at the same time. Well, that means you can't have any hesitations or anything. You gotta be able to play the piece from start to finish. Once that first note starts, that clock starts counting and that beat goes on all the way to the end. There's exceptions to that. We'll get to that later. Right now, you got to have it all the way, just solid. When you're ready for that, come back and do the play with me. Now, when we do the play with me, I don't do it up to speed. I do it slow, because you'll see at the top of at the beginning on page 8, above, you see the word moderately. That's telling you how fast to go. It's a tempo, another Italian word for speed or time. Well, moderately, again, it's a range. What's moderately? What's moderately to you? It's somewhere in the middle. Depends on how you feel. How many beers or glasses of wine you've had. I don't know. It changes. When we do the play with me, we don't do that. We go slow. Now, we'll do the duet later. Then we can go moderately. But right now, we go slow. Now, as far as the dynamics go, the MF is medium loud, moderately loud, sort of loud, loud. It's a range. You decide what. It's softer than loud, but louder than soft. It depends on how you feel. Depends on the situation. Well, if you look over on page 9, at the beginning of the second line, there's a P. That means soft. That's piano. That means soft. So you've been moderately loud this whole time, and then all of a sudden you go soft. So however loud you are before, now you're going to be soft. For 2 measures, and then in the 3rd measures, your medium loud comes back. Like so. So that you get a little variation here in the loudness and softness, the dynamics. So go ahead and put your hands where they go to get ready, and we will play this together. And I will give us 4 counts because there's 4 beats in a measure, and so we'll play the whole thing straight through. So the right hand is here, and the left hand, when it comes in, is here, the hip. 1, 2, ready, go. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go on. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. Now there is a duet part for this. the teacher duet part at the bottom, I would like to play that. And if you want, you can play your part so you hear the duet. I can't hear it because I can't hear you, but you can play the duet. And this is a good exercise. I highly encourage this because piano playing isn't just playing solos all the time. Sometimes you have to play with other people. You have to accompany people. Or you might be in an ensemble or something. I don't know. So this is good practice to learn to play with other people. You have to know the part. You got to learn your part first. And once you have it, then you're ready to do this. Because if you look at the notes in the teacher's part, they're different than your part. So you have to know your part and stay with your part, but you have to listen to the teacher's part to stay with the teacher's part. I can't stay with you. I can't hear you. You have to stay with me on this. If you have a live teacher and they're playing with you and you mess up or hesitate, they can adjust to stay with you. I can't. If you mess up or hesitate, it's up to you to try and figure out where I am or just start it again and try it again. So I'm going to give us 4 counts and let's do this duet together. Now I'm going to speed this up a bit to more of a what I think a moderately is. Now to make this work out a little better, I need you to move your hands up the keyboard out of the way. You can't play it in here because the teacher's part is in here and it won't sound very good. So all you do is just pretend middle C goes up to the next C up here, and instead of here you just move your hands up here and you're just pretending this is middle C and play the whole thing up here. Like that, just play it all up here and it'll sound a lot better with the duet. So here we go, 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go.